Wizards. Thanks for joining us for our first Ask the Wizards event. This is the opportunity where you get to ask us some questions, throw some stuff at us. We've got, a bunch of us here that will go ahead and do our best to try to get some of those questions answered for you today. And we also have some questions that were sent in by some folks who weren't able to do it live with us today. So I've got those questions that I'll throw in between you guys asking questions, and we'll also have this available for replay probably tomorrow or the next day or by the end of the week. Want to introduce some of the folks who are with us. Before I do that, though, I just want to ask you all to go ahead and mute. And then once we get into the Q&A portion, there's a little hand down at the bottom of your screen. If you just click that hand, it'll show me that you raised your hand and want to ask a question. And then I'll go ahead and call on the order that those come in. So, like I said, I'm Scott Sanfilippo. I'm the GM here at Your Store Wizards. Next person I would like to introduce is Joe Palco. Joe is in sales and marketing here at Your Store Wizards. Joe has, 30 years of e-commerce experience like I do as well. We both had our first online store back in, I'm going to age myself here, 1994. So yes, I feel as old as that store is. And then second in line with having a lot of experience is our founder, the wizard. He's got his wizard hat on today, Don Cole. Don's got a quarter century of experience in e-commerce as well.
Stop aging me.
Don, I know. I think I'm older than you. I'm the oldest one out of all of us, and I really don't like that. But John, I'm going to have you talk here in a little bit before I do the introductions, because this year also marks something special for us. Next up on my wizard list is Brett Bitke. Brett is the guy. I just call him the guy because Brett, he builds all of our apps, all of our tools, all of the stuff that gets added on to your stores, and he just does an amazing job with all that. And he's the creative programming guru that makes all of those apps and tools work for you and store owners around the world. And then we have Julio Arzino. Julio runs our team of store developers. So he's got a team of about 15, 20. I don't even know how many we have on that group anymore. It's grown so much over the year. About 15 to 20 programmers that work on the Shopify and BigCommerce side of the house. And we also still have some developers who work on Herbify as well. So that's who's going to be joining us today. We'll all be chiming in to answer questions as they come up. But before I do want to talk a little bit with Don about 25 years. This is the 25th anniversary of Your Store Wizards. Don, it started with shower curtains.
I did start with shower curtains 25 years ago, which is crazy. Like, it's one of those things that, I know there are people out there that they had some grand plan, and I'm like, I did not have a grand plan when this all started. It was literally, I was a developer. It was 1999. I was supposed to be making money off the internet somehow. And so I opened a Yahoo store and thought I'll make a couple bucks on the side. And, literally figured I'd make a couple dollars, sell a few products. And that business grew until I eventually had a warehouse and staff. And then, long before that, I'm a programmer by nature. So I decided to write software to automate because, as I say, I'm a programmer because I'm lazy. I will spend hundreds of hours to save 5 minutes of repetition. And so I did that and then went, wait a minute, other people could use this or other people could, and it all grew from there,
I think that, we all have that story about how we got started. We all got involved in e-commerce just to make a couple of bucks on the side.
Yep.
Now, what do people do to make a couple of bucks on the side? They probably say, I'm not even going to try this e-commerce stuff. I'm just going to DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Uber. That's how, they make extra money now, because it's difficult. We all know.
It has changed over 25 years. It is not what it used to be.
But hey, back in '94, with that first store, holy cow, it was real easy to get to get customers because we were the only ones out there
You're
at the
it.
time. Now you're competing against everybody and everybody. So, you know, it has become a struggle for a lot of store owners, especially the ones that are just starting out. And the ones, you know, I see the people who are joining us today for this thing. A lot of you guys have been around for a long time, so you know you get it, and you get the struggle that there is at times to you know keep up and not lose that business to Amazon, and you know just start building those relationships with clients to keep them coming back and shopping with you week after week, month after month. It's not an easy task. Don, I'm throwing you on the spot. One lesson you learned in 25 years that you could pass on to an e-commerce store owner.
Boy, one lesson. There's a lot of them. I don't know.
Just
I don't know if I
one.
qualify as a lesson. I would say to me, the biggest thing is you have to, or at least for me, there are two types of people. There are people that like to run a business and the people that enjoy the business. And for me, I have to enjoy the business. There's some people that they just love the logistics of running a business. If they could run any business, to me, I have to do a business that I have a passion about so that I can spend the time and so that my brain will work on it and that I will enjoy what I'm doing so that you can get through the struggles because they're going to happen. And if you have the passion and the knowledge, then it's also good because you know the product, you can help customers and all of this, and you can connect with it better than just simply processes. That's probably my biggest thing.
Good advice. All right, so now we're going to open it up to you folks with your questions. So like I said, all you have to do is down on the bottom, like right there, there's a hand. Just click on that hand if you're ready to ask a question, and then we will, I'll see you in the little box here, and then you can unmute. Pam, you are the first one in, believe it or not. You're first up to ask your question. So go ahead and unmute, and let's get rolling.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Pam.
I see some people signing up that I haven't talked to in years. So anyways, hi, everybody. Dawn, Scott, you guys, Joe, I know you've been in this a long time. And when I started out, which was 23, 24 years ago, the big thing was that every couple years you had to redo your website. And I was on Yahoo for 20 years. And then I moved to BigCommerce. So when I moved to BigCommerce, you guys, of course, moved me. It was all so new to us, and anybody that switched from Yahoo to BigCommerce knows what a big shock that was. So we left the design alone, and we kept everything pretty much the same, which is not something I normally do because I get sick of the same shirt after 2 times. So what is the industry standard nowadays, guys? It used to be every 3 or 4 years, you better make that look different. You know, you better get a whole new website. What's going on now? What's the in thing to do, or what's the correct thing to do? Because things are so different.
I was going to say, you know, years ago, it was like every 12, 18 months, got to redesign your site. Now, with the new platforms that are out there, you've got themes that get updated on a regular basis. You get features, apps that are constantly being updated. So if you're on like BigCommerce, Shopify, one of these new platforms, you do have theme updates that come along. We'll talk about, you know, the pluses and minuses with theme updates. I'll actually have Julio talk about that for a moment, because you can install, like Pam, you can install a theme in your store today. 6 months down the road, you'll get a notice in your store that's saying there's a new version of that theme that's available. But you have done a lot of customization to your store over the years. So Julio, what happens if Pam were to go in and hit that update button on her website on the back end of the store to update that theme?
Yeah, so basically With these whole new updates, you always want to like see if that update will be is important to you, because developers on themes sometimes can just push like a small update that will fix something that is not related to your specific store. But basically, if you're close, if you have like a customization, and by custom I mean like you install the theme, you bought the theme from the BigCommerce or Shopify store, and let's say you had like as developer to add something to the theme, like hey, as it was on Yahoo, or you saw something on another platform or another website that you wanted to have on your website. If we do that custom, that means like whenever we need to do an update from the team developers, that may override our changes or the custom changes that we have in place. That's why like sometimes it's the best or to stick with a custom design that the developer can control all the type of changes. But if you're like just want to go as simple as possible, like getting a theme installed into your store, the best recommendation most of the time is just to keep with the option that came with the theme. That way, you just click on update, and then that will update all your files, and then you have the latest version of that theme, and you're ready to go. But with changes, that's the only caveat that you just need to making sure you have like a good team of like a developer that can help you to go to updates whenever you have like a customization on top of that theme.
And as far as redesigns are concerned, for the most part, we don't see, a whole heck of a lot of redesigns like we have, 15, 20 years ago. When somebody moves to a new platform, it's adding features, it's, doing those updates to the theme, helping them install another app, configuring that app. But like Julio mentioned, if you are on a theme and there's an update and there's been any bit of customization that you've done, such as a custom item page or you've got a different layout somewhere, if you simply click the update button, that's going to be overwritten and you're going to lose that custom change. So it's important to work with a developer so that those changes that were made to the theme originally are synced and brought over when you do an update. So I always caution people, once you make a change to a theme, make sure that it's backed up, version controlled, and then rolled out that way rather than just hitting the update.
Yeah, I just don't think people. I don't think people are making overhaul, complete redesigns nearly like they used to. And I think that makes sense. And especially when you're looking at Shopify or BigCommerce, I mean, Yahoo is a different beast. Because you can do a lot of things in the themes for settings, and you can do a lot of apps and things that will add features, change the site without a full redesign. So that's the one nice thing is you can do a lot of changes on the site without, a full redesign. And as Alana mentioned, adding new content, changing descriptions, things like this, keep it fresh and new. And obviously, if you've got banners, things like that, swapping that stuff out. But I also think full redesigns are nearly as prevalent as they used to be.
Well, you also remember going back to, Don, especially with Yahoo. Every one of us Yahoo developers back then had a gazillion features for stores that, we're going to do a redesign and add all these additional features in. Today, you don't want to load up stores with all these features because it's going to bog it down. You're building for mobile. You're going to have poor Core Web Vital scores, especially with speed. So a lot of things have changed, and the whole redesign thing definitely has changed as well. Anything else, Pam?
Well, that actually wasn't what I thought you were going to say.
Why?
Only because I get sick of looking at things.
Pam, it's time for a redesign. So
okay.
Well, let me talk to Joe. We'll get you hooked up.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I just, was just so used to, I think I had 5 or 6, maybe more websites when I was on another platform. And I understand now it's all these apps and all these things. And I'm glad you mentioned about when you get something in your mail. I didn't get it, but a friend of mine did, and it told them to click the button. And they clicked the button and the whole website went bananas.
Oh yeah, because you're gonna lose all that custom work that was.
Yeah, and you know what? They should tell people that, because you think, oh, this is so easy. It's updating on its own. Well, that didn't happen to her, and I felt pretty bad. Okay, I have one more quick question.
Okay.
Your toolbox, which we love.
Yourstoretools.com, for those of you who don't know about that, yourstoretools.com.
Yeah, now that we love it here because it saves me a ton of manpower. Not only me, but my employees, because I had to keep hiring more people because in big commerce, like I said, I was spoiled with Yahoo. Big commerce, changing prices, changing a whole bunch of different items at the same time, adding items. It was I was overwhelmed the first year, and I'm sure I overwhelmed you guys that I couldn't handle it all, so we hire somebody else. So your toolbox, we use it for the inventory to turn on and off, and I don't know if everybody turns on and off as much as we do because we have a wholesale end going on that, selling 500 of something a day, and then the price changes. Changing prices now takes what used to take me forever, just like the inventory, takes a matter of minutes. So
Second.
do you have anything else coming for that? I mean, I know the one thing that I want that I have been flat out told no by Big Commerce and you guys, but it's still my favorite thing that I wish I had back. And Scott, that is the being able to put a subsection inside a subsection page. That was very simple in Yahoo. So I could have 3, I'm just going to say Hershey bars. But and the fourth item was bags that I could put the bag section to put those Hershey bars in it. It's almost like we call them a change maker when you have retail stores that, it's right in front of you. They are going to click it. Big Commerce says, no way, we can't do it. I know I drove Julio nuts over it. I wish
Me nuts over it. Yep. So let me answer a couple of those questions. First, Your Store Tools is a bunch of tools, guys. Right now for Big Commerce, you can update products, prices, inventory, download images, upload images in bulk. If you've got a Big Commerce store, I encourage you to check it out. There's a lot of stuff there that's for free, and there are some paid tools in there as well. $2 they start at. It's cheap and it will save you a lot of time. Shameless plug. We do. So do we have some more stuff coming out for tools? Yes, one that Brett just sent over to me today for user testing and documentation is a DMARC tool. And Brett, I'm going to let you chime in here in a minute, but everybody knows that tomorrow Yahoo and Gmail is enforcing the DMARC rules for email delivery. If you enable DMARC on your domain, you're getting those zip files every day, and you're like, what do I do with these? And I know the first time I got it, I'm like, what do I do with these? Trying to open them and read them. So we went to Brett and said, Brett, make a tool that puts this into plain English. So quickly, Brett, tell us a little bit about what that DMARC tool that's going to be rolling out. If I get my butt in here over the next day or two, we'll get that out as quickly as possible. So just give me a rundown on that, Brett, and then anything else that you've got in the pipeline for Your Store Tools.
Yeah, so with the DMARC tool, basically all it is allows you to upload the zip file or just an XML file that they send you, and that basically we process through that file and just return you a straight up CSV file that just allows you to read whatever's in those XML files a lot easier. So it's just a simple, really kind of more or less simple tool just to give you just a better idea of what's going on, how your emails are being accepted or whatnot. So it just makes it just a little easier to read because it's not. You don't want to have to read through XML files because they give you a lot of them. So we basically just compile all the data into one simple CSV or Excel file, and we'll just email it off to you once we're done processing it. So it's pretty overall simple, but yeah, it does the job nice there. So, and then for coming up,
is on the roadmap.
Yeah, so coming up for tools specifically, we have Lighthouse reporting coming. So basically that we're going to be doing daily reports for your store. So we'll scan your store and get page speed insights all from Google, and we'll get your reports of saying how fast this day it was or how slow. So you have a nice chart of showing how fast or slow basically your pages, your page load is going. And so you'll be able to select specific pages you want to search or just have it scanned on a specific day, or daily essentially. So that's coming. And then we're also going to be working on a sale, price, and banner scheduler. So that's going to be going up that's specifically for BigCommerce as well. So you'll be able to schedule specific times where you want banners to appear or not. So
that's one that I'm looking for. All right. Thanks, Brett. Thanks, Pam. Avril, you are next on the list there. So you could go ahead and unmute.
Okay. I first want to thank Wizards, Scott, Don, everybody for the past years for helping us out. It's we've been in business for over 20 years, like you guys, and it's been a journey.
It certainly has.
That it has.
Yeah. As far as Pam's comments, I think as long as you have a professional looking site, it's more important to look at the what's behind the covers. Right now, we're having Julio did an analysis on our site, and he's going to fix a lot of technical things that are behind the scenes that are really going to help us site. So I think it's more important to do stuff that's behind the scenes, plus SEO, plus PPC, and like you guys said, people aren't doing redesign. As long as you have a professional looking site, it's more important to work on what bumps you up in SEO, organic listings, and things like that. So that's my comment on that.
Good advice.
What's that?
Good advice.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Because we have a custom design like Pam, and it has to be done, just right if we're going to make a change. Right now, our contract is up, or will be up later this year with BigCommerce. They're offering to go from, you have to go from monthly payments to quarterly or to a yearly. So I asked them, hey, what if I go to 10 years and will you fix it for 10 years at a better rate? So what's your advice on me aggressively going for a 10-year commitment? I mean, I don't see us changing in 10 years. God knows where I'll be. Hopefully I'll still be above the ground. But anyway, should I go for 10 years or should I go for more? Because they're going back to finance as a tip to everybody, and they're going to try to get me the best rate possible. The more carrots I give them in 10 years, the better price they're going to give me. So what do you guys think?
I'm single because I don't like commitments. So 10 years is a long time. I don't even know if I'm going to be around in 10 years. 10 years is a long time, Avril. Hopefully I'll be around in 10 years. Pricing can change. I mean, competition may come up in 3 years for BigCommerce, and that price that you locked in 10 years ago or years ago may actually be less. I personally would not get into a 10-year contract. You may even look at switching platforms again sometime between now and when 10 years is up. You may, look at Shopify and say, hey, you know what? I think I may like Shopify better. Let's change. Then you're locked into a 10-year. 10 years is a long time. But I mean,
I don't know if I've never known of them to do longer contracts than a year, but I mean, they may have. I just don't know that I've been dealt with it on that. So,
yeah, they say they've done 4 years. They've done
4 years. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know that I would do 10, but I mean, I guess if you're really committed to it, like I said, I just don't know. 10's just such a long time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's a long time. So you'll have to keep us posted on what goes on there. All right,
Okay.
April.
Thanks
All
for
right.
that.
Thanks, April. Thank you. Looks like I know it's not Daniel because we have Mary.
It's Mary.
it's Mary, not Daniel. So Mary, you're up. Go ahead and unmute.
Hi guys. So I really like what Bro was talking about with tools for Core Vitals because that is what I have been working on for the last 6 months. So what I did, I just wanted to share this, that BigCommerce offers an audit of your site. It's like $1,500. And I thought, why not? They're not trying to sell me like, go with us because we're going to make your store grow stuff, like if you have someone else do an audit. I get solicited probably daily in my emails for audits, but it was really probably the best money I've spent.
And
Because,
what exactly did they audit?
so they audited the core vitals. So they audited,
Okay.
yeah. So what they came up with, a lot of things that came up with that made a big difference is because we don't have like different colors of shirts and stuff. We sell vitamins. So basically our bottles are like 60, 120, 260 or something, but it's the same exact product, right? It's like, calcium. How can you make it look different with a calcium of 60 versus 120? So we were getting dinged a lot for duplicate content. Because it was duplicate. So we went in and we actually changed all of those bottle sizes, the content on those. So it's not identical anymore. And then we worked on just like things that were broken, links and things. And I mean, just little shit everywhere. But I mean, having a tool, because I've gone into Core Vitals and I look at it and my eyes glaze over because I can't figure out what they want me to do. Like just fix this thing and then that'll be better. But like having that tool for the audit where I could just go through like the top 100 things I have to change, that are the most important. But I said all that to say this is January. And usually January is a fairly good month for us, but it's the best month I've had since I've been in business. And
Wow.
I really
Nice.
think, when I'm passing Core Vitals, I think it's made a big difference. And having said that, I mean, you can pass 1 month and fail the next. I mean, it's pretty.
You can pass today, upload a huge hero image to your website.
Yeah.
And guess what? You're failing instantly, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Right. So I even like when I'm looking at banners, because I want to put up some new banners, I don't even think about that until I think about talking to the developer and saying, hey, if we put this up, this has to pass Core Vitals immediately. Because I just don't want to go backwards. So my question is, when you're looking at, rankings and things like that, are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing, that Core Vitals plays a big portion? Because I look at some of my competitors, they are not passing. They have horrible Core Vitals. And I'm thinking, I wonder what they're doing really, because it's made a difference for me.
So Core Web Vitals are extremely important, and they are a huge factor in Google ranking. Google is prioritizing on mobile, not desktop. They're prioritizing on mobile sites that do well and have passing scores in Core Web Vitals. So the biggest thing is speed. So if you have a slow site, a site that has, huge images that aren't optimized, aren't compressed, you've got a lot of third-party scripts going on, they all take time to load, and they all take away from the optimized time, which is 600 milliseconds. Google wants to see your page load under 600 milliseconds. So anything above that is not really a good number. A philosophy, when I talk to people, and Pam, I believe I first said this when I was talking to you about a redesign. When you were moving to BigCommerce, I said, don't crap it up, because nowadays you have to build for speed. So like I mentioned before, years ago, all these features for websites. I got to do this on my item page. I got to have this. I got to have 88 rotators on my front page. I need all this stuff happening on my item page. Your site needs to be skinny now. Skinny margarita. It has to be lightweight. It has to be fast loading. And you don't want to put all this stuff all over the site because you're no longer optimizing for desktop viewers. You're optimizing for those on a mobile device. So when Google is out there looking at your site, Google's not looking at your desktop version. They're looking at your mobile version. People still come to us when they ask us to do a design change or re-platform, and we try to tell them, let's focus on mobile design. And they don't want to. They want to focus on desktop design because we've all been in this so long that, oh, I have to see how it's going to look on my laptop, on my desktop. When no, you shouldn't be doing that. You need to be focusing on how it looks on your phone and on your iPad. And with Core Web Vitals, your site needs to be fast. You can't have a ton of apps that are going to bog it down. And that is what is going to, give you the best bang for your buck. So as you start thinking about what you're going to be doing in 2024, if I could give you one bit of advice, and Mary, you already took this upon yourself, concentrate on Core Web Vitals. Make sure that your site is fast loading and optimized and you're getting passing scores. Can you get passing scores? You can. A lot of it is platform. There is some stuff that a developer can control that you can control with your product images. Developers can do some stuff with scripts and can defer it from loading and to reduce some of that response time. But you may also be subject to platform, BigCommerce, Shopify, Turbify, Wix, whatever you're on, that will also cause you to get a little ding when it comes to performance.
Yeah,
So yeah, go ahead, Don.
I was just going to interject. I mean, obviously Core Web Vitals, because Core Web Vitals became bigger than, it used to be speed. It used to be just about speed. And Core Web Vitals obviously has speed in there, but has other factors because it has the layout shift and things like this. Because the main thing they're looking at is usability. And so obviously if you plan for mobile and then it goes to a desktop, that's easy from the standpoint that if you've made it usable on mobile, moving it to desktop is easier to do versus working something desktop down to mobile. And then, obviously Core Web Vitals are important by far, but still don't lose, the value of a good customer experience with good content, good layout, good navigation, things like this. I want to make sure people don't think that that's like the only thing to factor in, because a site that they may have horrible Core Web Vitals still can rank well if it's an age domain that's got good content and people are linking to it and using it and things like this. But of course, a lot of that stuff is stuff that's happened over time, over years on your, so you don't have some of that you don't have as much control over. But so all of those things come into play. So it's not just Core Web Vitals, but obviously Core Web Vitals is something they're pushing more and more, and it's having a bigger impact than it used to.
If you haven't run a page speed insights report to see how your site performs with Core Web Vitals, just Google page speed insights, type in, you'll want to do like a home page, item page, section, category page. So do like 3 pages and see how you perform. That'll give you a good indication of whether you've got passing grade. You don't want to have a lot of red. So you'll want to look for green is the best. Hey, I'm passing it to green, but you also want to have some.
Yeah, I think that's key, is because a lot of people do tests and they test like one page. They go like test their home page. They stick their home page in, and I'm like, yeah, you need to test a home page. You need to test your product page, your category page, and if you have any other kind of page that you really want to particularly rank, those are all important to test, because otherwise, if you just test the home page, that's great, but that only is one piece. A lot of people aren't going to land your home page, and you want to make sure
that's probably the heaviest out of all the pages on the site. That's probably the heaviest page to go ahead and take a measurement on.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Next, we have Alana. Hey, Alana, you can go ahead and unmute.
Hi guys. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Zicada. They're like a cloud service accelerator, and it was a really good solution for that, but they're going out of business or transitioning to something else. They're not going to be around, and I don't know if you have any alternatives to that or know of anything like that.
I know that we've had a couple. I'm trying to think off my top of my head that we've worked with in the past. I'm trying to see if I can remember the names. I don't know if any of you guys remember the names of some we've worked with, because I have heard of Zicada. I know we had 1 or 2 stores that was working. Gosh, what was the other services off the top of my head? Dang it.
It works great for us everywhere except for the homepage, because it can't really anticipate where somebody's going from the homepage, but same with checkout, but for all the other pages, it was really impactful.
I'm going to put down notes so I can try to look it up and see if I can find some of it. Because I know we've worked with a couple, and I know of a couple services at other stores that we haven't worked with that have, but I can't remember their names. I'm going to try to find them and see if I get them to you.
Oh, that'd be great.
Julio, Brett, Joe, are you guys thinking of anything? No, Brett's shaking his head. No.
I know I have, but it's driving me nuts. This is one of those moments. It's going to show up like the moment we end this thing. I'll remember them.
Right. No, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Alana. Let's see. If you have a question, just go ahead and hit that hand button down there. Let me get to, let's see. We've got a bunch here that have been submitted previously. Here's one. We have a low advertising budget, but never tried Google Shopping. Is this something that we should consider? The short answer is yes.
Yeah.
Don, I believe Google has a free option for you to get your products into shopping, if I'm not mistaken. Well, you're the feed guy here.
Yeah, there's a number of options. Obviously, you definitely want to feed to Google Merchant Center for the free ads for sure. That's been an off and on thing that, like, for years they had free, then they got rid of it. Now they're back again. So certainly want to do that. And obviously we have a feed service, and we're working on a new version and everything like this. We love that. But yes, definitely, if you haven't tried, particularly Google product ads, it certainly can be beneficial. They used to be the hottest thing on the planet. I think they still do really well. Better than like generic Google ads. You do product ads because those will show up with the image and all of this information. And particularly if you set it up in Google Merchant Center, one of the things recently that's shown up is if you set up in the Google Merchant Center, actually your shipping and delivery time ranges, it will actually, even in some cases, now show up on Google search results. Even in regular search results, you can see those shipping times for products. It'll say, like, it'll arrive to you between this date and this date, type of thing in the Google search results. I haven't seen it all over the place, but I have seen it start to show up. So I think that's a new thing they're doing. So I think setting up the Google Merchant Center, and certainly if you want to just spend a little bit, try some Google product ads. It's certainly worth doing. And like I said, if you aren't setting a Merchant Center, oh my gosh, please do that, because if nothing else, you get free clicks.
That's true.
Not that
Mary,
come on, please. Yes.
Mary, it looks like you raised your hand again. Or didn't I clear that out?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that Zicada, I was using Zicada, and they recommended fudge.ai for me in place of Zicada. But I don't know how much benefit I really got from Zicada, but I really have received a lot of benefit from rich snippets and what's that other one? They're rich snippets, and I use both of their service. Yeah, and Tag Rocket. The guys in Australia.
Yes.
Yeah, so that makes a big difference. The rich snippets and Tag Rockets has helped the site immensely. So, and it's so affordable.
And I believe Tag Rocket, they do have a free version, if I'm not mistaken, and then there's a paid version as well.
It's so cheap. I mean, it's like totally worth it.
Yeah.
And it does grab those rich snippets, and they do show up. And the tags are, I mean, it's just automated, and they're always working on it and always updating it, and it never slows down my core vitals, where some of the things do, like, that I use. So
Yeah, well, the nice thing is about stuff like that is doing the schema markup and things like this that won't have a speed issue.
Yeah.
And the better data you can get there. There are certain things that Google now even reports that it wants that frankly no one will ever fill in, but there are cases. But it's constantly a moving target, and the more data you give them has pros and cons. Some people don't like it because the data's out there, but at the same time, it's a lot of data that people are going to see anyways on your site. And so if it can show up in those search results, even better, because people will click through, see it, whatever, get more action.
I did have one other question. I was wondering for tools, because I've asked about this before and nobody's done it. That they would somehow work on the blog having someone can have like a table of contents or something. I don't know if anybody uses the blog as much as we do, but I know BigCommerce. I mean, we switched over to BigCommerce blog because we wanted the same URL, but it's just
it's horrible. Let's be honest, it's horrible.
Yeah, it sucks basically.
Yeah,
our blog is visited a lot, and you can't find shit on there. So
yeah, the blogs on Shopify and BigCommerce are historically just they're add-ons that they would because they wanted to have it in there, but neither of them are particularly great.
I mean, I think someone could design like just being able to have a like a table of contents would be phenomenal. And
if I'm not mistaken, Mary, I did see an app in the App Store at one time because we did get a lot of requests to help with the blog stuff. And I believe that there is an app in the App Store. I'd have to do a quick check.
There is an app, and I forget the name of it, but it was going to make me switch to a different server, and like it was like, yeah, it's too much work. Yeah.
All right, okay. So I'm gonna put that down I know this has been brought up a couple of times in the feedback that we get for like, hey, suggest a tool. So Brett, I know I've got something in our wish list, so we may want to look at that again. So just mental note, I'm going to write it down as well. Because BigCommerce definitely needs a better blog editor, because the one that's in there is just it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even expand the window to write. I mean,
yeah, it's
so let's see what we can do, Mary. I may reach out to you for additional feedback on what exactly you'd be looking for. So yeah, we'll bubble that back up to the top. Another question here that was brought up, submitted. My site's getting penalized for being so. Okay, so we talked about Web Vitals quite a bit. Got a letter about our site not being ADA compliant. Is this legit, and what can I do about it? So if it came from, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people on here who got a letter from a lawyer saying that their site was not ADA compliant. There are things you can do about it. You're basically going to pay out if you got sued, like many of you have. And then Joe, you work with a lot of folks who get these letters and then come to us to implement a solution. There's a couple different things, so I'm going to turn it over to you to explain how you would solve the issue about not being ADA compliant with the different things that we've done for clients. So take it from here, Joe.
Oh boy. Well, anybody can get one of these demand letters. They're pretty common, but I think they've slowed down a lot now. They're not anything as prevalent as they were a year ago.
Well, don't get me again to the chat thing that's going on now. So,
what's that?
There's a new chat thing that's going on now with letters regarding that.
Yeah, that's the new one. For what I don't really know what advice to give, because I'm not a lawyer per se, but from what I've come across, your website should have an accessibility statement, which basically says that here's how you contact us if you can't place your order. And in this statement, you need to constantly say that we're constantly updating our website. We're constantly checking. We're constantly trying to make it better. And you want to keep logs of the changes that you've been making to your website. You can have overlays like Accessibee and UserWay. I've been told that they're good to have. Actually, from a lawyer told me that they were good to have. They do keep like reports of changes that they've made to make your website more accessible. A lot of it's going to come down to the representation you have and how you're actually named, like whether you have just a demand letter or you've been named in a lawsuit. If you have a demand letter, a lot of times you can just show them the accessibility statement and the copies of your previous reports, and they'll like not demand you anymore. I know everybody has a different experience. I've worked with a couple merchants that have actually gotten out of these and like were able to through their lawyers get on, not named anymore in the lawsuits. And then I've worked with other merchants that have just paid them off. So it's pretty random. I don't know if anyone else has any comment
So
there.
Pam raised her hand. Pam, do you want to talk about your story? Because I know we had to get a solution for you. Yep, it's right down there.
I found it.
There you go.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
Pam, do you mind if I bring up your website?
go ahead. Is it loading?
All right. So you are using UserWay, which is a overlay for accessibility, and this does have the accessibility statement that Joe mentioned in there when somebody hovers over. So Pam, do you want to talk about what happened to you?
Yeah. We were hit pretty hard with this, and that was with when I was running Accessibee. Right, guys? Isn't that what I used, Accessibee? And Accessibee sent us all the files and all the reports and everything that we thought we were covered. And this particular lawyer, which is in New York City, found a way around that. So everything that we thought we had covered with Accessibee was not covered. We were going to fully ride them the whole way out because of the large amount they wanted. And then we found out it would be like another 100,000 to not pay them. So we ended up giving them. They would not even meet in the middle. We were trying to meet in the middle, but this is only my own point of view, and this isn't to down Accessibee or UserWay. But we had been going back and forth with so many different attorneys from everywhere, and Accessibee, and very nice folks at UserWay that kind of really helped us. I think they're all in it together. I mean, that's only my opinion. But you get in trouble, and one of the companies sends you to these attorneys in California. Okay. You start talking with those attorneys, and then they tell you, well, there's a clause in here. You need the guy in New York City. You call the guy in New York City, it takes him 2 minutes to send you paperwork. Then a judge that we had in New York City, he knew them all. So it's like, I don't know if there's so many that were being sued. That has stopped. It's slowed down right now only because I think there's some legal federal laws that are in the works to stop this, because so many large companies, I mean, like Dick's Sporting Goods, I heard was nailed huge. Who's the guy that did Star Wars? George
Lucas.
One of these guys that's big into those movies got nailed. They had a trailer on a website. They were hit for like 300,000, and I think the bigger people got in touch with some higher up attorneys and things, and it has extremely slowed down, is from what we've been told. And I also want to add, I have a friend that was a Yahoo store that was hit 3 times.
Yikes.
He paid 3 times. All 3 times he had to pay. And he was running the same type of stuff, I don't know if it was UserWay or Accessibee or a combination of them both. So anybody's a target, even the second time, but I think the government has finally paid attention to what has been going on. Because what we were told, there was over 900 people the day that we were sued. 900 other people were waiting to pay theirs. And I don't want to take up your time, but just let me tell you how ridiculous ours was. I sell candy. They sued us because they said the guy was 94 years old and blind, and he was trying to buy candy to make wedding favors. So we're like, okay, the guy spoke no English, zero. And we said we have someone that answers our phone, live people, 10 hours a day. We answer emails almost 24 hours a day. And we said, he had never contacted anybody. It did not matter. We lost. And my friend lost. And his were a little more ridiculous than mine. And it's so if we haven't been bothered since I got the user way, but the user way guy explained it a lot better to us, but it's also a heck of a lot more money. And I didn't even go with their full version, but if we get sued again, knock on wood, but we can be. So if you're sued once, they don't go away.
No, they come over and over again.
And the overlay doesn't give you 100% protection either. The only 100% protection that you have is to remediate and build in to your website everything that Accessibility UserWay has, and to make your website 100% ADA compliant without using UserWay or Accessibility. And you are talking a huge amount of money. And, small businesses, family-run companies don't have that amount of money to spend in development costs to build all these compatibility features into a website. So they go with a UserWay, they go with an Accessibility to provide the basics as a CYA in the hopes that it will at least push off some of these layers. It's frustrating. It really is. It's frustrating.
Alana asked a question in the chat, and it's, you're not being ridiculous at all, because sometimes subscribing to the services makes you a target. They track who installs Accessibility, and they know that there was a time where there was a vulnerability in Accessibility where there was a part of it that didn't work, and they all knew it. So they went out and they found people that had Accessibility, and then they sued people that had Accessibility. So I tend to think I really don't know the answer. Even if you don't have an overlay, you should probably have an accessibility statement that explains how you're contacted, your hours of operation, your email address, your phone number, and in there find someone else's accessibility statement that says that you're constantly doing website upgrades with the intent of making your website more accessible. So then if you do get sued, you can say, like, well, we've always been proactive with accessibility, but it's not being ridiculous. They do target you sometimes just because of the overlay you're using.
Yeah, but I hate it too, because there's not a 100% defined standard, and one company can sue you, and if you pay them off or whatever, some company can sue you the next day.
Yep.
So and even if you've done it on your site, it doesn't stop them from suing. There's not a hard and fast, this is 100% compliant. There is no, yes, there are certain things they use to measure compliance against, but even that's not a legal, writ. It's just what what people have been using, so.
All right, we're coming up on an hour. If anybody has any other questions, go ahead and raise those hands now. I do have 2 more questions in the pipe here. They both have to do with Turbofy, so I will try to get these all rolled into one. First of all, are you going to have tools for Turbofy? This is going back to one of the first questions that were asked today, your store tools. Right now, the bulk of the tools all of the tools that are on Turbofy or on your store tools are for BigCommerce. We do have in the pipeline some tools being developed for the Shopify platform. So we'll be taking a select number of the existing tools and building those for Shopify. Will we have tools for Turbify? I'll be honest. The answer to that is going to be no. We have, when we look at building an app or building a tool, we have to look at demand. How many users are there going to be for this tool? We have to look at the labor costs that will be involved, and we have to look at the upside to building that tool on that specific platform.
Yeah, and Turbify doesn't have the APIs and the webhooks and things like this that let us do a lot of that stuff. So a lot of the tools would be, you can get data, manipulate it, drop it. It's just not as nice, frankly.
And with the changes that have happened at Turbify, a lot of you guys are no longer there anymore. So with the dwindling base, it really doesn't make sense for us to develop those tools over on that platform. So if you need a specific tool, we could custom build you something, but are we going to have a suite like we have for BigCommerce? The answer to that is going to be no. And then this second Turbify question that we have, what's the latest with Turbify? Are they investing in the platform? It's just a matter of time before they disband it. Don't see it being disbanded anytime soon, so don't get nervous about that. Don and Joe, you guys were just on their latest developer meeting that they had, I believe, last week or the week before. You want to just give us a quick update on what was discussed there?
Yeah, we met. I forgot what his title was, but yeah, they do a monthly meeting with developers. They say they are investing in the platform. They are doing stuff to try and grow it. They will be doing stuff. They will be reopening it for sale. So, to resell the services and things like this again, that they've paused on some of them. So they at least are saying they're trying to actively work on grow the platform, but we'll see what happens. I would love to see it make a comeback, but I 10 years ago would have loved to have just worked on that for the rest of my life and never had to go somewhere else. But we'll see what happens. I do hope they can do stuff with it, because it was a good platform, and it does still have some things that are some benefits to it that just
it has a lot of potential, and there's they're probably like maybe 6 or 7 years behind where Shopify and BigCommerce are, but if they start developing on it again, people may subscribe to it. It may be a competitor to Shopify at some point. It's just not there.
All right, Turbify people. Here's a question. Who's going to be the one to answer this? What does RTML stand for? If you've been around for a while, you should know the answer to this. Who has it? Just shout it out for me. Oh my goodness. Really? No, nobody?
There's actually been multiple things that it supposedly could be.
Yeah.
So. Robert T. Morris?
Well, that is one of them, yes.
Yep. Robert T. Morris language. He was the guy who wrote who came up with RTML, which is the language that the
one of them rich text markup language too, wasn't
that
one of
that
them?
too?
Markup language.
I prefer Robert T. Morris. It sounds great.
I know it does. It does sound good, doesn't it?
It could be one of those urban legends.
It very much could be.
All right, guys. It is now 3:00 Eastern time. I do want to say thank you to everyone for joining us today. Before I let you all go, though, Don has been working vigorously on a little side project of his. Believe it or not, Don has taken to TikTok. So if you have a TikTok, Don, tell us what you're doing over there on that thing.
Well, I just started it literally. Well, I've had a TikTok, but like started one now. Just in the last 2 days, I am doing short snippet videos on e-commerce stuff. I'm going to do site reviews, rants and raves. I'm going to hopefully put out one today on the latest Shopify updates that came out today. So basically, anything you want to know e-commerce, feel free to ask in there. I can put a video together. So here, I'll put it in the little chat. That's my TikTok. There you go. There's only a few videos in there so far because I'm just starting on it, but hoping
And I
basically
I told him
good info.
over the weekend, I'm like, Don, you have to have at least 1 or 2 videos up because I'm going to plug this on Wednesday.
I know, but it comes down to I want real e-commerce stuff, because if you search on e-commerce for like on TikTok for e-commerce, all you get is you can open a drop-in shipping store and make $100,000 in 3 days, and like those videos are so bogus, and so it's like I want to give real info for real people that run real stores.
Yep. So follow Don at the.mad.wizard. And again, thank you all for joining us. I would really appreciate your feedback on today's event. That will help me decide if we're going to go ahead and do more of these. Scott@yourstorewizard.com. Please send me an email. Let me know if you'd like to see us do these again. We would love, if you would like, we would love to get together once a month and do these with you. So please drop me an email and share your feedback with me on whether you would like to see this and what we can do to make them better. I would really appreciate it. Thank you to my panel. Thanks for all my wizards, and thanks for all you folks for joining us today. We hope to see you on another one of these real soon. Thank you.
Thank you all.